Here we are. I'm Danielle from the Fertile Spirit, and of all people, I am here today in conversation with Dr. Robert Kiltz, founder of CNY Fertility, fertility doctor and specialist, and amazing human being. And we're going to talk about the fertile spirit, among other things, and everything that a fertile spirit entails. So I'm really excited to be here with you, Dr. K.
Danielle, thank you very much for being the creator and driver of the Fertile Spirit. I'm really excited to be joining you. And on the CNY Fertility side, how important it is that we talk about the emotions and feelings and having a place to come. And so excited to be doing our first live together.
Yes. I mean, I think I feel like we'll just kind of have a conversation as we do offline often, and just kind of talk about the importance of these things. I think like you've been a real maverick and forerunner in your work as a doctor in looking at like the bigger picture of our health and all of the different elements that are involved in creating a system that is working and in balance. And I mean, I know you started CNY Healing Arts years ago with all of the acupuncture and massage and things like that. And the fact that we're now extending that kind of perspective into offering more psycho-emotional support and coaching and doulas and things like that with the Fertile Spirit is just feels like a natural extension. So I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Well, let's see. The Fertile Secret I wrote years ago, and CNY Healing Arts, and bringing mind and body connection to the struggles of infertility is important. And we offer massage and acupuncture and herbs and light therapy and so many other things. But one thing we've been, I think, remiss in is how do we bring the story of our feelings and things like that. And, I'm again, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background and
Sure.
what your thoughts and ideas are to bringing this. And by the way, Kristen, Jen, Lindsay, Latasha, Leah, Coco, Yalitza, Nicole, I'm just going down, and thank you very, very, very much. And we're hoping to get some questions that we're going to get a chance for you to help us answer tonight, Danielle.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to know where to start in terms of my background. I think it's been, as we've all been on different journeys. Like I've certainly had a long and non-linear path. Most recently, I completed a master's in counseling psychology, in-depth psychology, and I think that a lot of that way of working is really holistic. And so we're looking at kind of how our psychology is impacting every aspect of life, but also really connecting with the body and looking at trauma and the relationship to that. And we all have, different levels of it. And so there's a piece of that. There's a big creativity piece. Just like you, I have, all of my love of making art and background as an artist. And I think there's a lot of potential for healing through kind of aspects of our unconscious we're not always aware of. So also integrating that into some of the work. I think another big thing that I've realized and that I've learned is that healing happens in community. And that's one of the beautiful things about CNY is that it is such a strong community. Like, look at all these wonderful people coming on. And it's true. Like if you look at cultures outside of like our Western cultures where we get very isolated, and we've been more isolated than ever, that when we can come together and share our stories and, whether that's celebration or mourning or whatever, like there's a healing process that happens. And so with the Fertile Spirit, what we're doing is we're offering both one-on-one support with coaches and doulas. And we have people who specialize in all different things from, somatic experiencing, which deals with trauma, to hypnotherapy, to art therapy, to, nutrition and wellness and Ayurveda. But so there's that one-on-one, and then we're also going to have more and more group support circles and coaching in a community. Yeah.
So that one-on-one, it's something that so many of us need. It's that person to just talk to when we're in trouble, and our brain kind of takes us into the drain in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's just that's kind of the intention of the Fertile Spirit, I think, is sort of bring that place for people to be able to call or FaceTime or in some way talk to someone that's kind of understands the journey a little bit and can feel it.
Yeah.
How's it? How have we sort of unfolded it so far? How's it working? And what's our sort of dream of just those simple little things? I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like my big vision for what the Fertile Spirit can be is a place for let's just be specific because it serves all people, but specifically mostly serving women and women who are going through vital moments of transition in their lives as women, and moments of health transition. So whether that's like you're investigating your fertility or you're thinking about freezing eggs or becoming an egg donor, or you're ready to do IVF or even just have a baby naturally, that we're going to have someone there for you through that. And then as we continue to grow, extending into having prenatal, postpartum support for new moms, and then even into perimenopause and menopause, so that there's someone there with you every step of the way who really has a specialization in this arena. So that's like a big focus for us, is to really be there for these crucial moments in women's health.
Well, Jamie Allison was asking, and we're reading some of the questions about fertility counselor looking to be one. And, I think that that's really important to find those that have experienced infertility and just want to be, it's coaching in essence. Maybe you can sort of just say a little something about, where we're finding our counselors and our therapists and people that can be part of this team.
Yeah. So it's a funny arena, becoming a fertility counselor, because most fertility counselors have certifications usually as like marriage and family therapists or licensed professional clinical counselors, and then they get an additional certification with training in fertility counseling specifically, which is awesome. And I think there's also a lot of people, like, let's say, for example, you're a DONA certified doula, and so you can help women through that phase of prenatal and postpartum. And we also have people, like we have someone who's a certified clinical hypnotherapist. So, that's a very specific training, or one of our somatic experiencing therapists. So I think what we're trying to do is like find a lot of different ways in, because in my experience, and I don't know about you, Dr. K, we've had a lot of, I think a lot of success looking at things from different angles, and it really is like finding the right fit for each person depending on what they might be needing,
And sometimes they connect with one person and not another, and that first talk maybe not right. They need to find another person. And I think some of the things that we've often done is trying to find people, even our clients that have gone through this to create this Fertile Friends. Yeah. I think a lot of this is sort of working into that next level. Part of it, I've always had the hopes that we can also create that the coaching, cheerleader, counseling, where even those people that just I need some help to get through the process, that one-on-one for someone to help guide me. Even some days, the stress and struggle to take a shot can be very difficult, and have someone just pick up the line and talk about that, I think, can be very, very difficult. Loss. I mean, a failed IUI, a failed IVF, or even just a failed month of natural conception is a loss. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the ability to sort of weave our way through that. And nowadays we don't, at least this COVID stuff has sort of pushed us all away from each other. But I like so much what I've learned in doing our lives and our FaceTimes and things. We really can connect with people via these methods better than I think we ever imagined.
It's wild. Like, I have individual clients in California who I've been working with. Some people I've known, I used to see them in the room together, and some people I never even met until COVID began. And I mean, personally, and what I've heard from them is like, there's almost no difference. I mean, everyone is different, but how they respond to connecting this way. But I have seen like incredible growth and change and transformation just having a relationship that's evolved virtually. So I think there's a ton of potential. And I think, you know, the clinical staff, like whether it's the doctors or the nurses, it's like, I know that everyone wants to be there and is there for clients as much as they possibly can, but to really have someone where you can pick up the phone and you can have an hour long or a 45-minute long, just full on conversation about every aspect of what's going on for you physically, emotionally, psychologically. Sometimes it's having accountability. Sometimes it's just having someone to just mirror you and hear you wherever you are. So I think it's entirely personal, but there's a lot of potential.
I'm reading some of these comments today, and Jessica talks about, been trying for 8 years, and we do, human beings feel everyone else's sort of pain, and 12 years of trying, and 10 years of trying, and it's crazy, and $30,000. To do IVF, and the stress and struggles of the financial and the emotional part of it. And I think part of medicine, we need to be more like a life coach. And I think Jamie mentioned, being a life coach. And I think we all need to gain the skills of being a life coach. And I think that's what, even for the doctor who takes care of these things every day, we can be very stressed and struggling and get emotional with the losses. And we all get connected because it all feels like family to this.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things about you, and I'm sure most people watching this, if they've experienced you, whether on the lives or as their doctor, can attest to this, is that you always go, I'm going to start crying, but you always go the extra mile, you really, it's genuine and it's real for you. And we feel that. And then we feel supported. It's amazing how feeling like, someone is in your corner who gets it, who knows, feeling that when you can feel really alone and really anxious and in a really unknown space can immediately kind of change your outlook on the whole situation. It can ease your anxiety, your cortisol levels kind of decrease, and you start to feel better, and then you end up having better outcomes. So it's the emotional piece, but it definitely keeps, it relates to the physical. It's all so interconnected.
So one of the things I think would be nice is how do we maybe create a larger sort of Zoom or a larger sort of a visual crowd and open questions to all of this. And, that would be something nice that we can do through this Fertile Spirit, is because we are all so spread out, and, we can create we used to, in our office years ago, it seems like years ago, have an open forum. People would come for a support group. And I think creating that open support group, because sharing and listening to the stories of others is critical. And I think that's how we really all learn and grow, is by reading their stories or listening to the stories that make us feel like we're not alone. I know between depression and anxiety that I've had through my years, and always trying to find something to, but it's getting together with a friend or someone who's experienced it is so critical. And finding others that want to help in all of this.
Yeah. So, I mean, our plan, and we're actually about to launch a new, the Fertile Spirit, I think on Sunday or Monday. So you guys will see it and we'll follow up. Right now, if you go to the CNY Fertility website, to the top nav items, it says support, and you'll find all the info about the Fertile Spirit. And I'll put the link also, or our email address, which is fertilespiritsupport@cnyfertility.com. I'll put it in the chat. But one of the things we'll be launching is, so we'll have one-on-one, one-off sessions. We'll have different kinds of packages with a coach or a doula that will take you over a period of 6 weeks or 12 weeks. And then we're going to have a Fertile Spirit membership, which will give you access to these support groups, support circles, meditations, journaling prompts. And so that's where we'll be able to kind of come together as a community and see each other and hear each other. Because I agree, I love the Facebooks, but I want to see your faces, it makes a difference.
It does make a difference. And I think that our facial recognition is so important for us human beings. I think that's why all these new technologies have grown so much in social media, because ultimately we want to see something. We want to see, feel, and hear the story that someone's going through this. The struggles, and the falls, but then the getting up and keep going, and then the final success, where I think we do know and we do see it enough that it's inspirational for everyone, and that's why I think these stories together are so critical and important. Let's see, Shaquana Scruggs would love to help, and a lot of people on this journey very open about their fertility journey, and we're even talking about creating some video stories of your journey that we can share, even the process of going through the whole IVF series, or the IUI series, or the surgical series, or the diagnostic series, or even to the process, and recognizing that there's going to be failures and there are going to be success, and kind of how do we all go through that, that we can experience it, because our emotions are powerful for all of us.
Yeah, it's it's I think it's important because we can get into this kind of like compare and despair thing, and we can also really feel inspired and uplifted by it, depending on the context and the frame that it's held in. And that's why it can also be really important to have someone facilitating the group, so that we can kind of keep our perspective, because it's very easy to lose that. I wanted to ask you, Dr. K, because I know we kind of offline talk about these things a lot, but what have been, not to put you on the spot, but what have been some of the most helpful tools or inspiring things that have not only guided you through your own ups and downs, but other people, obviously tons of your clients, what, not to put you on the spot, but putting you on the spot.
Well, the connection, and that we're all going through this together, and that we develop a relationship, and the relationship is not always going to be exactly in the way we thought it should be in the outcomes, but we also need to recognize that this is just part of our lives, and listening and learning from each other. And I've just seen people from all around the world, and again, the ups and the downs, the successes and the failures, and how we can listen and learn from each other. We can cry together, we can pray together, and we can listen and learn together. And why it works and doesn't work, that's the mystery for all of us. But this is a bit of art in some way. And so it's a painting, it's pottery, it's poetry, it's music. So by doing all of those things, by the way, for me, painting, pottery, poetry, music, it keeps me sane. But just connecting and talking to people is really, really important. Take a moment. Where are you from? What's your journey been? What are your feelings? And what can we do to help and make it better? And every day, I mean, there's not one thing of this process that I don't love, but it isn't easy, and that's, I think, that keeps me coming to listen and learn. And when Lisa and Lindsay and Christy and Jamie and Maya and everyone is sharing today, that is really important. I think that's helped me more than anything, because I think this is my family in so many ways, that it really feels like a safe place to be for all of us, that we can have the conversation and we can work to stay positive, while being realistic. Brandy, I appreciate that. And it's interesting. I'm learning that maybe realism is the dream, and you have to keep the dream alive and don't let it go no matter what. And I've dug deep into spirituality and faith and belief in the higher power. And so that's, I think, the thing that's helped me out so much. And
sorry, I was going to say, and I think also it's I really believe that our dreams exist for a reason. It's no mistake that our dreams exist, but it's being flexible enough to allow for them to unfold in the way that they will. And sometimes we can get so stuck on, I want it to happen like this and it has to be like that. And we miss the forest for the trees. And so, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely it. And maybe the ability to see the beauty in the hard, the pain, the sorrow, because we are emotional beings. Tias often says that I'm too positive. Uh, and though I am more and more recognizing how powerful and important the emotions, we'll say negative, but they're not negative and they're not positive. They're maybe just the motion of our beautiful lives sort of weaving together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, the important part. And but when we're working to help each other, and sometimes it's helping find adoption, donor eggs, donor sperm, donor embryos, surrogacy, or find some happiness in where you're at,
Yeah.
because we're all doing on this journey together, and finding happiness just in the experience
Mm-hmm.
is so important.
And
And
I was going to say, I think one of the reasons I'm so excited about the name of this program being the Fertile Spirit, and of course, like piggybacking off of your book you wrote years ago, Fertile Secret, is that it's like the idea of fertile, not just as like, having a baby or being able to have a baby, but like to live a life that's fertile. And what does that mean? And when we have struggles and when we have challenges, every one of those, if we look at it in a certain way, is an opportunity to become a bigger person, is an opportunity to see things in a new way if we're willing to do that. So it's like it's not all for naught. It's for something. There's a reason.
and there's a word significance, and maybe there's this part of us that there's such insignificance in the universe of our being, but ultimately we really matter, each and every one of us. And and I'm just how important it is to share the story, your story. And I've had many patients have written great books of their sorrow, their pain, or they've written a journal or shared a journal or shared a calendar or a picture or some piece of art with me. And I'm, just to write and journal, so important. I got journals everywhere. And so once I burnt a bunch of my journals, and lately I've just been saving them. And boy, they got some crazy stuff written in them. But we have to recognize that if you can think it and ink it, write it down, you can then see it in a different light. And I think it's so helpful to really do that and give it up. And I think, let's see, Jamie is give it up. And so I always say give it up to God, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
God is the great spiritual creator of all things for each and every one of us. And the more we can do that, the better.
Mm. I'm just seeing some of these comments and questions here. I mean, it's legitimate to get really focused on the numbers and on, and I guess, and to, when you're in it and you're waiting to have a retrieval or you're waiting for the results of your transfer, like you get really fixated on that. And it can be really hard to remember these things that we're talking about. So,
Yeah. And there's so many details in this process, and sometimes you do have to give it up a little bit. And I do pray, if you choose to, or just a positive mantra together, or just a blessing of love to each and every one of us, because these little embryos need a lot of love. And I've seen the most, let's see, poorest quality embryos become the most beautiful babies. So one of the things I always focus on, the beauty of every embryo. And so the more we can hold the prayers, and I do less of this and more of this. And so it's a little bit of stardust, sprinkling miracle, but it's a lot of this and every day. And the more we can come together with that, I think it's really important.
Yeah. And I hope that our coaches and our doulas can be, an extension of that spirit and an extension of that message to everybody, because there are so many people out there needing that kind of support in this realm. And it can truly be a harrowing journey. So it's so important to kind of, I'm speaking about this from a very like psychological standpoint. I don't want to alienate anyone, but keeping our nervous systems regulated, so that we stay in balance is as we do, and doing things like immersing ourselves in creativity or in healing community or in prayer, in nature. Like these are all the things that can bring us back to center and give us that perspective again. So,
Well, I think that that are the emotions, the commotions that of all of this stuff, the shots, the pills, the what ifs, the why, which is our biggest thing, finding something you can do to release that energy. I know for me,
mm-hmm.
my painting and pottery helps. And sometimes I will maybe get into the gym a little bit and maybe just do a little walk or on my bike a little bit, but very little. And or get out into nature. That's really the best one. Or
Mm-hmm.
I love to fly, get up in an airplane a little bit, and sort of it's just peaceful. And finding a place or a thing to do that it's sometimes again just standing still and dreaming and thinking about the beautiful thing you desire as if it is, and it'll unfold.
Yeah.
But that's why I love to talk about this stuff, because I only learn this stuff because I've listened to other people talk about this stuff. So I need to listen and learn from others that have been on this journey, and support group counselors, but hard time finding one. Nicole, and I think that's the intention that we want to start right away. Part of it is just getting us all together and listening and learning together.
Yeah.
And infertility seems to be growing. All sorts of stress and struggles in the world seem to be growing. And so, we can just allow it to continue to grow, or we can begin to rein it in a sense, sort of bring it back into the fold. I think that's really important for us all to do. And I can't wait till we're able to hug again, or just touch people and connect in much more gracious and positive ways. I think that's really, really important to do.
Yeah.
But,
One of the things I think, I don't know if you remember this, Dr. Kiltz, but one of the things we first connected over, and this is when I was a client at CNY, so I was like in the same boat, I'm still in the unknown, we always are. Sometimes we're more aware of how unknown things are than others, but we were talking about the work of Byron Katie and really questioning our beliefs, the beliefs that bring us sadness and pain, and the beliefs that don't really serve us. And she is such an amazing practice of self-inquiry and a process of really looking at like these unquestioned beliefs, and that when we start to kind of look at the inverse of these beliefs, we might find that there's just as much, if not more, truth in them. And that shift can start to change things fundamentally, because it totally changes our outlook.
Well, just having experience in this, obviously, but most people show up without much experience in this, and so having a chance to talk to someone to that again, check your emotions with someone, and recognize that your frustrations and fears and worries are pretty normal, and not to fear them, but maybe to have faith in them. Mm-hmm. And not run away from our crying or sadness or depression, but maybe we use that as the energy to fuel us to get to the next place and the next level. I think is really important. So
yeah,
it's crazy. Let's see a couple of Alyssa, thank you very much for joining, and Lisa, we're grateful for you being on today, and Queen Mag. Let's see. First failed IUI, but there's nothing wrong with me. I have 2 children, but haven't gotten pregnant in almost 11 years. I think that always leads to some inflammatory process, which is kind of what we talk about. And our CNY family building guide is really critical and important. You get that through our website or on Amazon. And a lot of what we're going to be talking about through the Fertile Spirit is going to be included in that. And so we're excited about that also, to kind of share how can people sort of on their own spend some time in their alone time to kind of find some healing energy.
Yeah. I want to speak for a moment to the nutritional piece and the food piece. I think especially for a lot of all people, in this culture now, but especially as women, you know, the relationship to food and body can be incredibly complex. It's not always straightforward. There's usually a lot of layers and years of stuff there. So one of the things I'm very personally excited about is having people on our team at the Fertile Spirit who can help guide you. Like, it's mindset stuff, but also what's coming up for you as you're trying to work towards your health. And are there blocks? Are there patterns and behaviors that are keeping you from having optimal health? So we're going to have people who can help with that too. So I just want to mention that because I think that's a huge piece for a lot of people.
And if you go to drkiltz.com or my Mind Body Smile, or look at the Fertile Secret, which is sort of an outcropping of all of these things to bring together how the mind is ultimately the master. And so our relationships with food, or just with the environment, and even our relationship with our emotions, which is our feelings, is kind of all just, they're all connections that are natural and critical to our being. And how do we can better understand those connections, and maybe sometimes the addictions that we all have to some of those things, and how do we let go and give them up? I've given up coffee now for a month, and
Wow.
it's been a very, very fulfilling thing to do, was to do something that was hard for me. And I found out, wow, it wasn't so hard. I
Yeah.
feel so much better. And I didn't drink much alcohol anyway, but I drank a martini once in a while, and I've pretty much given that up. And also I find myself working a lot on forgiveness. And forgiveness, I think, is a really important thing that we all practice much more. Forgive ourselves, forgive others, because we're humans. And in a sense, kind of, there's nothing really wrong with everything that's happened to us or is happening. And sometimes just forgiving ourselves and loving ourselves, and even forgiving and loving the experiences, can be healing. And I think that also reduces cortisol and epinephrine and improves serotonin and oxytocin, which ultimately leads to a greater chance of pregnancy and success, whether it's natural or with some assisted reproductive methods.
Yeah. I've been saying recently to clients, like, what if you start to speak to yourself and to your body the way that you would speak to or want to speak to this child that you want to have? Like, what if you talk to yourself with that love? You know, it really starts to change things, and to really start to actually be in dialogue with yourself and with your body, even speaking to yourself out loud, you know, like, you start to create new neural pathways and connections that may not have been there before, that can just kind of come online as soon as you start to do that. So
Well, Kayla talks about never losing hope. Give it up to God, and God knows. And for whatever belief system you have in God, I think that's a really powerful intention. That's the higher spirit. That's nature. That's however you want to align it. But ultimately, I think God is deep within each and every one of us, whatever your religious and non-religious beliefs are. And commitment. Lisa talks about a commitment, words. And so when I started CMI Healing Arts and Mind Body Smile 15 years ago plus, the Fertile Secret, which was really about the power of the mind and the words. And that was my first integration really into sort of this whole process. So, and then kind of it went over to how much important inflammation and food was. And now sort of it's kind of bringing this all together with the Fertile Spirit, and how important sort of all of us to get a better understanding of our relationships with all the things in our lives. And all of them have an important, loving, positive part in them. And I think that's where I think love comes in. The more we can love what is, I think it's loving what is.
Loving with Byron Katie, yeah.
Yeah. We've talked a lot about that, Danielle. I know. It's really exciting, and I'm sort of just throwing out a couple of things about our Sarasota office opening.
Yes.
Colorado's growing. And we're excited to bring all of these offerings to our clients all over the country and the world, and how important it is for everyone. Positive mind, Jamie, Allison, thank you. Very important.
And I think, I don't know what CNY is at this point, but like we have such a massive number of travel clients from all over the country and the world. So to be able to have the travel team that we have, and to be able to have this virtual support with the Fertile Spirit, and all these lives that everyone's doing, like it's such an important way to be able to reach out to everyone as they're starting the process and getting into the process from wherever they are before they come to CNY in person.
And I think it's important that we're working on our global team, our 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 ability to just talk to whoever answers the phone, to get a little bit of support rather than just let me find someone. So we're working on those things that we can all come together and listen and learn and improve. And our anger, our sadness, our frustration, and our joy all come to part of this process that I think we can all learn to listen better. And that's sort of the whole foundation of the Fertile Spirit, is really listening and learning to all the nuances. It's a dance. It's maybe this orchestra and this beautiful compilation of notes that ultimately will give us the joy in the process, as much as we dream about the joy in the destination.
Yes.
We know that the destination is very important to everyone. And Jamie, Allison in Singapore, we haven't been there yet, but that might be another place to come.
Why not?
And Kayla, let's see, I don't come to Albany as much as I used to. I'm pretty much in Syracuse all the time now. I'd love to be everywhere, and somehow I try to be there as much as I can. And hopefully through all the things that we're putting together, and Danielle in California.
Yes.
And I'm from a California kid. And we have our team members are everywhere in this country, and now I think even Colombia. But we need some help with the team members in Singapore and around the globe. Nephew Will is in Malaysia right now. And Mrs. Laura Love, we're Texas, and we're working on, working with all of your team members. And we're not going to be doing the zoo trip this year, by the way. Maybe next year. I don't know yet. We've done the zoo in Syracuse party for 10 plus years, but COVID's kind of made some changes to it for now. But we'll see. A little bit as maybe it's shifting changes to something different because we've grown so globally now.
We're getting a question from Melissa about a center in California.
I was talking to someone today exactly about that. So, it all sort of works in our first thoughts and beliefs. Let's see. I'm talking about LA and maybe Northern California, Sacramento, the Bay Area, for sure. But we want to work with your OBGYNs around the country and the world, that we can help you where you're at. You could come to one of our locations like in Colorado or Syracuse, and soon to be Sarasota and Atlanta. We're hoping to get Atlanta, Sarasota open for retrievals and transfers sometime this year. That'll be very exciting. And so, we've kind of hold the idea and the energy, and it comes. And Jana, I'm in Syracuse most of the time, and sometimes I'm not forefront right there, but I'm always willing to come out and say hi, do a transfer retrieval. But Dr. Corley, Luthringer, Faruqi are doing an awesome job of that in our Syracuse location. So,
all of our, I just want to give a shout out to all of our nurses who work their butts off and work so hard, holding down the fort. And it's extraordinary how much CNY is growing. I think one of the things that we're excited about with the Fertile Spirit is that, especially, I mean, for all clients, but especially for those who are traveling, it's like if you want to start working with us at the beginning of your journey, as you're preparing your body and your mind and everything for retrieval or transfer, that you kind of have a point of contact through CNY, who's like your person holding your hand. And then once you finally get to the location, there's more of a connection and a flow through that whole process, and to really be an advocate for you. So that's something that we're excited to be able to extend some of that support.
And no matter where you're coming from in this country or world, we're there to help you. And a lot of it is this discussion. I got a call from a client who had problems doing an injection from Las Vegas the other day. I quickly grabbed Brenda. We did a FaceTime. We were able to show them how to do the injection. But we're really able to take care of our clients from all over the world. They really just need to come here for retrieval and transfer most of the time, or sometimes a surgical procedure. But many people will travel to one of our local area locations for monitoring and then procedures, but we're really open to the conversation. And again, just being able to talk to someone and make an appointment with the Fertile Spirit, that's going to be coming up starting when, Danielle?
There you can now, if you go to, again, the main nav on cnyfertility.com, and you go to the support page, it's like one of the main buttons. You can book with us now, and we're going to have it. You can still go there in a couple days, but we're going to have a separate page, like a separate site just for everything that we're doing, and for our membership for the Fertile Spirit, so you can be part of groups and get other resources and everything. Yeah, that'll be probably Sunday or Monday.
Well, that again, it's unfolding. It's always going to be changing, like everything else we've been doing through the years. But the main thing is supporting the journey of this challenging infertility experience, or you're not infertile, but you're working to have a boy or a girl or some other genetic disorder evaluated. We're here through the rocky road, the bumps in the road, in every way we can to kind of help you improve this journey. And I love to do the lives. I'm currently doing Sundays at 10. We're hoping to get the Fertile Spirit once a week. Danielle, is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, we've been doing it once a week, and yeah, I'm typically doing it this time every Thursday, and it's cool because I'm bringing on a different person to have a conversation with every time, so that you can learn about a specialization in the world of holistic health, psycho-emotional support. Last week we had Tammy Remenon, who's going to be one of our coaches, and she does somatic experiencing, which is a really incredible, top-notch healing modality for trauma. We're going to have a hypnotherapist on. We're going to have a meditation and yoga teacher on to talk about kind of different practices. So hopefully it'll be like an informational conversation that you guys can tune into every week.
Well, and hopefully we're going to be able to sort of create a coaching certification in some ways that we can help grow and expand our CNY Fertile Spirit coaches.
Yes.
Really important, I think, because the more we can help more people do it, that's going to be a plus for everyone, because the journey is hard and long and frustrating at times. But when you have a fertile friend, it can make the journey better.
Yep.
Much better, much better. Let's see. Does CNY Fertility and Dr. Kiltz have any experience with working with patients with Müllerian defects of the uterus and related reproductive defects? Alyssa, we do if it's related to fertility. So if it's a septum or a unicorn uterus, or even an absent vagina and uterus, we can help in those areas. So good question, Alyssa. Let's see. Michael Metcalf. Positive. Let's see. Living Your Best Life, a new book I just came out with. I think it's coming out on Amazon soon. Kind of talks a lot of these practices that we can all work on individually. And just going to the Fertile Spirit website, what are some of the offerings on the Fertile Spirit website, Danielle?
Yeah. So, okay, one of the things is you can just get on there and you can book for a one-on-one session with one of our coaches. You can read about their different bios. And those are, you can choose like a 30, 45, or 60-minute session. And then we have, right now we're starting with 6 different packages. So we have like a fertility treatments package, meaning it's kind of like prepping and planning for whether you're doing retrieval or IVF. And it's 6 sessions with a coach. You can have them weekly or every other week over a 12-week period, 3-month period. And so like that will kind of help you, whatever it is, if you're working on mindset stuff, or just kind of trying to navigate the logistics of everything, or your anxiety about it. So it's really tailored to you. We have a package specifically for health and wellness. And that could be if you're going for fertility treatments or just wanting to improve your health and wellness. It's really open for everybody. We have a prenatal package. And we break that down into the post-transfer prenatal. So it's just those, like, I think it's weeks 11 to 17 after the transfer. And then until, term. So we have those 2 divisions of it. And then we have a postpartum package for new mamas, and some amazing doula people. One other thing we have that I'm super excited about is couples coaching. So a lot of people are going through this together. It puts a lot of strain on a relationship. So that's 6-hour-long sessions that you can do with your partner to work through this together, and to work through any stuff that's coming up for you, get clear, work on communication, things like that. And then the last thing is we have this membership, which we're building, which will be regular weekly support groups and support circles, as well as like journaling prompts and meditations, so that if you're really committed to that membership and that program, you're kind of in the groove and you're getting content throughout the week. So you're staying in the zone. So yeah, that's what we're launching with.
Cool. What about the guys?
Yeah.
What are we doing for the guys, the men?
Well, the men can get any of those packages. Well, I'm
Sure.
on the spot now. Yes, it's open. It's open to the guys, of course, too. I mean, it's funny. I actually, as a therapist, I actually love working with guys. I think it's really nice because they're not, not to make generalizations, but I think in our culture, it can be harder for guys to get in touch with their emotions, or maybe to feel like confident and safe doing that. So be able to work with someone as a coach and to really kind of go to those places where you might not have a guy friend or a partner, where you feel like there's the room and the space to do that. So we totally, I'm glad you asked that, but we totally work with guys as well.
All right. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, it feels very full circle having you, having us have this conversation on a Facebook Live after all these years and all this time. And, I went through egg freezing at CNY. I lived in California. I made it like a retreat time, and I spent some time in upstate New York. And, it gave me a lot of peace of mind. And what's really funny is that it was like the egg freezing that I was so focused on, but thanks to you, Dr. Kiltz, and to so many other things that happened, like it opened my life up to so many other opportunities and possibilities just by committing to that journey. And I think in that sense, like I'm an example of like, you just don't know where the path is going to lead you, but put one foot in front of the other and be open and just be surprised. I mean, get curious and excited, because we can look at it as with fear, or we can look at it with curiosity, and it totally changes our experience of it as we're going through it. So I'm a living example.
And we do go in it with fear all the time, and all of us live with some fear. And ultimately, we just kind of have to embrace the fear and walk straight ahead and move through it. But having a friend like the Fertile Spirit, I think, is really, really important for everyone. So just go to the website and
check it out.
Hop on board. That's what we're talking about, right? And again, the Fertile Friends and so many of you guys that are going through this can help us all connect in a better way.
Yeah, our Fertile Friends program too. If you want to be paired with someone who's been through it at CNY before, so we have that as well, which is cool.
And I think we really do need to expand the ability for guys to talk one-on-one. And even in a male forum would be really good, I think, for everyone. Really critical.
Continue this conversation.
Yeah, we can. We appreciate that.
I'll put the link again in the site, you guys. The Fertile Spirit is on the CNY website. There'll be links to it, and we're going very soon in a couple of days. We're going to have a standalone website for it as well, but you can always find it under the support tab on cnyfertility.com. So,
cool.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Dr. Kiltz.
My blessings and prayers for everyone. God bless everyone. Thanks, Danielle. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys. Take care.